right, gang, we're back with another unofficial quarterfinals attempt here. If I could get the video to play, there we go. So obviously, again, not signing up, not an official attempt, just here to help you guys tips and strategy by me doing the workout with my gazillions of years of open and quarterfinals experience as a 92 to 97 percentile athlete there. So if you live in that 90 zone, 90 to 95, this is probably somewhat relevant. But again, just like the first workouts video, this test is going to be very different for different people. So test one, if you're really good at overhead squats, it becomes more engine-y. If you struggle with those squats, you have to be a little more strategic and focus on those. This test here, we are painstakingly, watch me row at like a 150. I didn't realize that I set up a horrible angle with the rower. You can't see the screen, but basically I'm going to row like a 4-minute 1K, so I'm just not opening up super hot. Other people, if you're really confident at Grace, I think you can push a little bit when you're fresh on this one. You're going to be hurting on the second one, but we'll talk about how that goes when we get there. I am really bad at Grace. Moderate volume hinging blows me up more than almost anything else in CrossFit. I'm better with a heavy hinge and I'm better with a light hinge. So this middle zone really kicks my butt. 25.3 last year wasn't great for me. 225 deadlift, 135 clean and jerk, and then fatigued 95-pound snatches really beat me up relative to other things in CrossFit. So, I paced this row at a very comfortable pace. I've rowed a 7:01 2K as my best PR lifetime. I've never broken 7, but I took this all the way down. That's a 145 point whatever pace. I took this all the way down to just basically opened up at 150, trickled to 155, and then ultimately about 2 minutes and a little above, because that's just where I need to be to get into Grace and just start holding steady signals for myself. And you're going to see me do, so my best Grace time, I haven't done it in a lot of years, but my best ever that I remember is around 2:30. So I'm not really great at Grace. Like I was saying, I'm not big and powerful on a rower, so I can't just go out there and row a 150 at a recovery pace. I need to be at 155 to 2 minutes, being 5'9" and 175 to 185 pounds, depending on the time of year and how I'm eating and training. So that's just where my reality is. So knowing that, I rode very steady. I figured 5-10 seconds was definitely not worth it, given that Grace was going to be a tough chunk for me. So I wind up just doing all singles. I did the first 10 in like a minute 10, and then I clipped my watch, just like hit a split timer there. So it was about a minute 10. And then my next 10 were just under 2 minutes. So I really kind of was feeling it here. Maybe a little bit of fatigue from yesterday, up at 3:45 a.m. to open the gym. I usually feel fine on the first day I do that. So tomorrow I'm going to be more tired on my second early morning. But I definitely maybe I was sick last week. I was sick after the open. Just was feeling a little bit of that. Or I just am not very good at Grace. But I think this is one where that first row, unless you're going for a top time and you're elite and you can really hit clean and jerks hard, it's not worth that extra 4 to 5 seconds on that split if you're going to be slower on Grace. I think you want to just be cruising at a not very all-out pace on the row so you can hold steady clean and jerks on your Grace attempt. I really started to slow up and just kind of hit a wall. We'll skip ahead because this is not the most riveting content, me painfully slowly doing clean and jerks here. But worked through it, focused on my setup every time. I didn't want to blow out my back any more than I needed to, getting on the row, knowing I have to do deadlifts still to complete this workout, and a crap ton of hang squat cleans. So no grip it and rip it RDL clean and jerks for me. Knew that I was going to get on the rower, but also go to the handstand, so was doing a good solid push jerk. So making sure to redip and then stand tall on the barbell. I'm moving out of frame here a little bit, but again, not illegal, not a official submission. So we'll skip ahead. Yeah, there we go. So my split is finishing up just over the 9-minute mark on my clean and jerks. Maybe even pitched that last one a little early if you guys want to know rep me. I also lost count a little bit in there. I have no judge, so I may have done 31. I didn't count, but so I'm going to get back on the rower here. I tried to take the first 150, 200 meters to recover a bit because 5-minute Grace took it out of me after that row. Obviously not anything super impressive and one of my weaknesses, but that's just kind of where we're at today. And then I felt a little better. I did pick up my pace a little bit in the middle of this row and then kind of dialed back from that. So it was like 200 easy, kicked it up for 200 to 250, throttled back a little bit. And then with 250 to 300 to go, pushed a little bit more again, knowing that I don't need my heart rate to be super low for myself on strict handstand push-ups. So we ultimately rowing, got done at about, we're creeping up on the end here. When did I finish this? 13, I want to say it was 13:30, 13:40, probably approaching my final couple pulls here. Yeah, so about to get off just under the 14-minute mark, finished out the row, 13:50-ish on the clock, but there was a couple seconds to count in. So got to the wall, kicked up basically at the 14-minute mark on this clock, so just under 14. And I had thought about, do I want to do fives? Do I want to do threes? I'm like a 21 to 24 strict handstand push-up max set kind of guy. Always have been in that zone. I can usually eke out 20. I haven't trained them a lot the last 6 months, so I went reserved and just did sets of 3. And then you can see my walk rest that I built in. That's intentional. I'm walking to this line on the floor, the edge of this mat. I'm also alternating between touching my thumbs to the tape and touching my fingertips to the tape. That's something I like to do on strict and kipping handstand push-ups with this tape standard to mix up a wider grip and a more narrow grip. More shoulders on the wide grip, more triceps on the narrow grip for those strict ones. And then as I kind of hit that tough set, there's a bucket right here that you guys can't see. I walked around the bucket. So that was how I got my longer rest in there. I kept with threes until I had one set. I just kind of lost my balance a little bit. I'm also flirting probably with my feet getting a little too wide, so something I need to watch out for at the top of my reps. But I did maintain threes almost the whole workout. I had one set where I got a little off with my balance and went to a set of 2 just so I didn't overextend, go to failure. That is my biggest tip on this workout in regards to the handstand push-ups is you cannot push up against failure or you will absolutely fall apart and probably feel like you need to redo this workout. So not one that would be brutal to redo, but ideally, if we don't have to, we don't do it. So hanging on all the way to the end of the clip here, skipping ahead and trying not to go too far because at the end, this is what I wanted to show. I think a potential strategy that could work well for some people is to do all singles for a lot of affiliate athletes. So I'm going to do a set of 2 and I'm not going to walk away and I'm going to do these quick singles where I do 1, I kick down, I kick back up. I was just talking to one of our members about where he's at. He's like, I was thinking about starting off with a couple sets of 2, and I don't think that he needs to do that. I think that he could do clusters of singles the way that I just did there at the end. I'll even go back so you guys can see that, right? So it's a kick. That was my 2, so I'm going to kick up. You lock in your 1 rep. Make sure it's locked out. We'll go back a little more. So you do, I think this is my double, or this might be the kick down. Yeah, so set of 2. You're going to kick up, do your 1 rep, lock it in, come down. So I stayed close, kind of did a set of 2 with a quick reset down. You don't even almost stand tall. I came close to staying tall. But you can stay low, stay tucked, do a bunch of singles like that in a cluster. And I think that can help a lot of you guys work through those handstand push-ups and save your shoulders and save yourself to the finish on this one.